some people are not familiar with the Bible. I often think that when people like Sam come up here and they preach to us that the Bible is 100% the Word of God, they're not quite familiar with the Bible. So I would ask Sam, as he's asked me a few questions, I would ask Sam when he comes up here next time to read for us from Ezekiel chapter 23, starting with verse number 1, going all the way to verse number 21. And if not that much, then start from verse 11. And if he doesn't have time for that much, start from, just read verses 20 and 21. Will be okay. And in fact, why don't you read us from this children's Bible, so that folks can be sure what is there in the children's Bible. Yep.
Now he asked me to read Ezekiel 23, verse 20 to 21, if I'm correct. I will read it, and then I have a passage in the Quran I will read on behalf of Shabir. And I want to ask him if he'll show this to his daughter. Ezekiel 23, verse 20 to 21. And this is not original with Shabir, by the way. Ahmad Didat made this popular. Ezekiel 23, verse 20 to 21. There she lusted after her lavers, whose genitals were like those of donkeys, and whose emissions was like that of horses. So you longed for the lewdness of your youth, when in Egypt your bosom was caressed and your young breast fondled. Now Shabir wants to throw this out for a shock effect. Basically, he thinks that Christians who read this passage will be shooken up. If that's the case, then he's going to have to toss out the Quran, because according to Allah in paradise, he'll have 70 huris, and this is the description. Surely for the God-fearing awaits a place of security, gardens and vineyards and maidens with swelling breasts, like of age, and a cup overflowing. Would you read this to your daughter?
Sam starts by reading the verse, and then he compares that with the verse from the Quran. But I wonder how many people really think that these two verses are comparable. What he said was there is a verse in the Quran which speaks of women have swelling breasts. And that's comparable with the verse which he read, which said that a certain woman lusted after men who had members the size of that, and whose emission was the extent of that, like horses and donkeys. And that is similar to saying that a woman has swelling breasts. Moreover, the passage which she reads from the Quran doesn't actually mean that. The verse which he's looking at is from Surah Amma Yatasa'alun, which says, إِنَّ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ مَفَازًا حَدَائِقَ وَأَعْنَابًا وَكَوَاعِبَ أَتْرَابًا وَكَأْسًا دِحَاقًا. You ask me, would I teach that to my daughter? She has memorized it. All of my kids have memorized it. In fact, I will take you to the school where my kids have attended, and I'll show you that kids this high have memorized it, and they're studying that and they're understanding it. Kawaib actually refers to attractive women, and that is promised to men in paradise. Yes, we're not ashamed to say that the Quran has promised men to have women in paradise, and that helps us to avoid having women here outside of marriage, because we know we're going to have it there. But those who think they're not going to have it there are often having it right here.